Okay. You were talking about the yen. This is a decent sized move in the yen, a 1%, a little over 1%
Yeah.
move in the yen after being so strong. It's a little surprising.
Yeah. I mean, the currencies don't move much more than that I know we had some news events in terms of like who was elected as their
Prime
prime
Minister.
minister or some other position, but 1% is a good move in a
Yeah.
currency. I mean,
1%
that's
is a good size move, you mean?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely so. Definitely so. Even the S&P's hanging in there up six and change. How was the Friday action for you, son? I know you put on a couple positions on Friday before I had to fly out of here and stuff and get to LA, which we had a great show out in LA. People came out in
Mhm.
force, and I got to say thank you. Um, People are so nice. I mean, they really are just nice. I mean, they just say the nicest things. Our customers are a lot nicer than me. Let me put it to you that way. I mean, they were very grateful and appreciative. It was really a feel good event. I
I don't know.
think we had our first event in seven where we were basically unchanged on P&L. I sold a little bit more Nasdaq than Tom wanted to, and made me cover it. And
Uh,
that's what cost us some money because the Nasdaq was the weakest. He just can't see through the tea leaves anymore, and that's why I had to get rid of him. But anyway, it was really nice. It was really nice to meet and shake the hands of everybody, people I've been talking to, like Larry and others who I have never met. It was very cool. Anyway, it was
yeah.
a
Yeah. You
wonderful.
got reunited with your work wife. I know that was a special moment for you guys. So I wonder,
It was a
you
special one.
guys
LA with the work life
did
is
you do like a special embrace on air on stage? You guys like really hug and deeply
Do you know
hold each
Sosnoff?
other.
You know me. I mean, I'm a hugger. I'll hug you, especially if you got big ones. I mean, I'm going to hug you. I mean, but, Sosnoff, not a hugger.
Yeah, you got some people in the chat calling you out for not keeping the Nasdaq on. They're like, you should have kept it.
I
You
know.
got the keys to the castle now, so come on.
I know, but he still thinks he's in charge. So we let him keep it that way for the time being, for a little while. Not too much, but a little while longer.
Yeah.
Let me see what else I have here from my friend Aman. Just going a little bit from
I mean,
uh,
we were talking about Friday's action, but yeah, I think
yeah, government shutdown or not. I mean, it was just another up week across, right? The Russell was the strongest leader, almost 1.75%, followed by the Nasdaq around 1-ish%, Dow 1-ish%, S&P around 1-ish.
they've bid volatility pretty. I mean, like not bid it higher, but it's stayed kind of level. They've kind of found a bottom in volatility, and it's kind of percolated higher into the close nearly every day last week. I think there was a stat. It was like 5 straight days of a higher VIX close with a higher SPX close. It wasn't significant, these moves in the VIX, but I know that was kind of a stat that I saw thrown around. But when you look at the SPX, you got a 90 point ish. I'm sorry, 74 point range for the remainder of the week. I mean, you're talking about, a sub 2.5% move. Like it's not like there's any like the government shutdown stuff. It doesn't look like the market cares much about that.
No, government shutdown or not, it seems like business as usual here, and that's typical in the beginning of these shutdowns. If they go a lot longer, then you get a little bit more mudslinging and name calling, and
Yes.
people get they shut down things to make people get angry at each other, so that they finally come to an agreement to raise the ceiling one more time, and then they all can go on vacation.
Money printing and wars, baby. The two things that go on forever and never stop.
You're right about that. You're right about that. We want this show to go on forever, so let's bring in Ilya here. Ilya, what's up, my man?
What's going on, gentlemen? How's it going?
We're doing well. We're doing well. You tell me what's going on with the currencies. You were right on the break here before we got to come on the show. You mentioned Japanese yen being lower. It is lower. Talk to me.
So there was a election in Japan over the weekend. It was for the leadership of the ruling LDP party. They're the ones in charge. They have the prime minister. He resigned, so whoever was going to win this leadership contest was going to get to be prime minister next. And the expectation was that it was going to be Shinjiro Koizumi, who is former Prime Minister Koizumi's son and current agricultural minister. He didn't make it. Big surprise. Instead, it's Sanae Takaichi. She's a protege of the preceding prime minister before this one that was assassinated, Shinzo Abe, and she's very dovish on the BOJ. She wants them to stop raising rates. She wants them to go back to printing a bunch of money, and so the yen is very much weaker for it. Obviously, we've seen the Bank of Japan for the first time in decades started to raise rates a little bit last year and this year. She wants all that to stop and go the other way. So the yen definitely got walloped on that. It's down, almost 1.25%?
Yeah,
at
just
this point,
about. Just come off,
give or take.
little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
For a currency, that's a big meaty move, and for a G10 liquid currency, probably the third most liquid, so dollar, euro, then yen, that's a real big move.
I looked at the euro. The euro was down, but it was down small. It is down small.
Yeah,
So I didn't see. What's the pound doing? Just take a look at that.
little bit of a gap on the euro. Pound is off by about 1/3%. Aussie's a little bit down, about 1/5. Canadian dollar actually has been the weakest of the bunch. It's really been selling off, and it's down again.
71. Wow. Flirting with 71.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm short all of them, so this is nice.
Are you looking long dollar? Like,
I've been
generally long dollar.
I've been
here?
I've been accumulating dollar longs since about mid-July and just rolling them. It seems like the dollar is attempting to bottom. It seems like it's run out of bad news. And even when we can't stop talking about easing, even when we can't stop talking about uncertainty about these tariffs again, because maybe the Supreme Court will overrule at least a part of it, this or that, the dollar seems to be done with whatever that freak out was in the first 6 months of the year. It seems to have found a level and decided that, you know what, whatever negativity was there is probably already baked in. It's time for a little bit of a correction. And so I've been attempting to kind of accumulate as it attempts to build this bottom.
What are some of the pairs that you like most? I mean, I shamefully closed my long U.S. dollar Japanese yen pair in the middle of last week into like the initial move that it had. I missed this 1%, but how do I going forward? What's the look? Is it short euro? Is it short British pound? Are you looking at like any New Zealand dollar or Aussie dollar or any of those interesting to you?
I like short euro here. I think that still has a little bit of room. It's not too far gone. The pound is getting a little bit congested. It's kind of in the middle of its range. But if we get under these bottoms around 133.30 and we can get under that, then you open it back up. So that'll be interesting. I probably wouldn't chase the yen here. It's sort of near the top of its range from about a week and a half ago, let's say. Yeah. So maybe a pull back here first. The Aussie looks pretty good. I think that one's attractive. The Canadian dollar has interestingly been the weakest of the bunch, and that one is probably still good. There's probably still some room there, but the euro probably looks the cleanest as far as risk reward.
The downside to continue falling.
To continue falling. I think the dollar's got weeks and months of gains in front of it. I think we kind of had the big freak out in the first 6 months of the year, and I think April kind of punctuated it. There was this sense that, like, oh my God, the administration is going to break the architecture of the dollar-based financial system. And then after the April freak out, where stocks, bonds, the dollar were all falling at the same time, and the markets were obviously very concerned, the administration said, oh, okay, we understand. And there was very quickly a 90-day pause, and a bunch of deals then came, and the issue with China keeps getting pushed back and back and back. I think the memo got received that there's a level of foam board fear that isn't necessary, that it's too far. And so it looks like the dollar is done with kind of existential concerns. Whatever kind of window of real sovereign risk emerged for a second, everybody very quickly thought better of it. So I think the dollar's got some room here. If it won't fall in all this dovish Fed speculation, it doesn't want to go down, in my mind.
Do you think the dollar strength is a knock against equities? I mean, like, do you
It might
think
be.
that kind of is because we've had that sort of negative correlation in terms of dollar just
sure.
getting absolutely killed all year and the stock market just rallying to highs. You think if there's a big move, especially if it's short term, if we catch
Absolutely.
up, that would be kind of a pull away from markets in general.
One of the interesting things about stock markets in the first 6 months of the year is if you take them in terms of any other currency other than the dollar, they're actually down. And so it's an interesting thing. The weak dollar has really flattered U.S. stocks a lot. And if you were to get a meaningful dollar rally, that would start to kind of not so much obviously invalidate that AI is a real thing and that boom is a real thing. Not say anything about the fundamentals or whatever, but from a speculative perspective, I mean, we're at record highs. We got there in a hurry. We're getting the Fed resistant to giving the markets as much free money next year as they want. So the kind of defenses that the markets want against all the kind of gathering risks, they're probably not going to get in the same kind of amount that they want. So from a speculative perspective, if you get a strong dollar, you probably get a bunch of people going, you know what, it's been a great run. Why don't I just take a little off the board and then we'll see. But if enough people do that in these very concentrated tech names, that starts to become a thing.
And you're talking from like non-US based investors because they've ridden this wave higher and the dollar has been so weak that, if you do get a bid in the dollar and the dollar strengthens and markets stay relatively high and don't kind of freak out in that short term, that might be kind of the point where they say, you know what, I'm gonna cash in some gains and get some dollars here and be long dollars, and that makes total sense.
Yeah, like let me just it's been an amazing run.
Yeah,
let's not get greedy. Let's just take a little bit off the board.
Yeah. I got some people asking about
just put the dollar up there for you, $sign DXY.
Look at you. You are learning quick. I was just about to say that. Look at you. You can teach an old dog a new trick. Come on.
I can try for you.
Some
I
people
have
in the chat were asking.
I have 2 ears. I can't close them like the two eyes that I have when I'm annoyed at something. So I do have to listen. I don't have the liberty to be able to shut that off.
That is a way to see the dollar index, which is not tradable, but it gives you an idea of what the basket of currencies is doing versus the dollar.
And also that basket predates the euro. So most of the currencies that were in that basket became the euro. So that basket is basically just the euro upside down. So if you want to have that be a tradable thing, just look at 6E, look at M6E, look at euro USD in spot. It'll be the dollar index upside down almost exactly, because something like 60% of that basket is just one currency.
I know, and then Japanese yen is like the other 20.
The other big one.
And then
ironically, they have
everything else.
They have things like the Canadian dollar in there, but not the Aussie, which for years now has been the fourth most traded currency. It's a little dated, the basket.
All right.
Good thing to know. I didn't know that, so I learned something there. So I like it.
Yeah.
Good job out of you.
So what do we?
Some of us are currency nerds.
Do we get 6,800 or 6,800 on the day tomorrow? Do we touch that again? We briefly, that was the high of the session on Friday, was 6,800 on the dot. Is that our resistance level? Is that the top?
I think it's certainly the resistance level. I don't know if it's the top. I have been famously wrong about being skeptical about these stock markets all year. Thankfully, Thankfully, I've been very risk defined and also trading other things because those other things have bailed me out. In fact, being short the dollar the first 6 months of the year in size really helped to paper over being wrong about the stock market. Thank you, currency markets. But
Yeah, but we only care about the stock market. So
right, so,
in our eyes,
I mean, I got out of my shorts. The ones that I was nibbling on last week, I got out of them before the day was out on Friday. I mean, obviously Friday was kind of an interesting day, right? S&P ends up giving away all of its gains and rallying up quite substantially, but then ultimately giving it all up and being unched on the day. I mean, that's not encouraging. Russell ran away from its attempt to break the high. NASDAQ ran away from its attempt to break the high, but I don't think any of them look like they've done anything other than had a bunch of up days and then took a pause. So let's see this weak need momentum on Friday actually get some follow through. Let's get like a real down day. Let's get under like 6750 on the S&P. Let's get under like 2500 on NASDAQ in a lasting way. Like, let's get a close under that. Maybe a close under something like 2460 to 2450 on the Russell. And then there's something for me to nibble on again.
Very good. So far, we're rallying back what we sold off there on the close on Friday. We're up 9. Volatility is basically unchanged, 1768. Obviously, no idea why the
almost
market
a 5-month low on VIX as of Friday.
Yeah, bonds are down bonds are down 15 ticks, 116 and change, and oil's finally rallying for Nick there a little bit. Gold is up $6.50. It continues to rally. I think the bigger question is gold going to 4,000 by tomorrow, right? I mean,
it has to at some point soon. I mean, it seems like it's a magnet.
$30 expected move for the day, almost a $70 expected move for the week. You're close enough to 4,000. I agree with you, son.
Yeah. I got out of gold a little bit early, but I'm still long silver, and that's been running also, but it's getting into some hairy territory. I mean, $50 for silver is a real big level, and we're almost there. I mean,
what's not getting hairy these days. I mean, everything
right.
We at all-time highs, so it's pick your poison.
Yeah, I mean, I bought silver expensive. I'm not mad at it because it's even more expensive now. So, hey-o.
Understood. Nick, I'll give you the first run at the week. Let me. What do you think for Monday? What do you think for the week? I mean, really no earnings or anything to come out. I know there's a couple of economic numbers. I believe on.
I don't think we get them. We don't get them.
If we get them.
Won't we get jobless claims or will we not?
No, that's BLS, so we won't. We didn't get the jobs report on Friday. We did get the ISM report because that's a private sector thing from the Institute for Supply Management. It was much worse than expected, which of course is what the markets wanted. They had that big rally largely because as long as you got the rate cuts, everything's okay, baby. And apparently that's the thought process here. So it was a weak ISM, and the market said, "Hey, cuts, la-di-da."
Understood. So what do you think, Nick?
Well, you got 2 earnings this week, Delta and Pepsi, just to put those out there. I know, not that those matter at all to what my thinking is. I think this week is when you can start to get short some of the frothy names, those INQs, your Bloom Energies. I think you get a little bit of air coming out of those. I mean, those have been just absolutely parabolic. I think there's a little bit of froth there that you can take advantage of. I mean, I think 6,800 is the natural magnet here. A grind higher and just sitting around there probably makes sense here.
If we do get data, assuming there is some sort of shutdown resolution, we should have CPI, we should have PPI, we should have retail sales. All of these are big things. Don't know if the Census Bureau is going to publish retail sales, but BLS is definitely not publishing stuff because the jobs report was theirs, CPI is theirs as well, PPI is theirs as well, and looks like they're on hold. As and
if we don't
until.
get the numbers, what do you think?
If we don't get the numbers, I think it'll be really interesting to see what default the markets find, because Friday they didn't get the numbers and they tried to run them and it didn't work. By the end of the day, it all kind of fizzled, but it didn't cross any Rubicons. It didn't break down. There wasn't any kind of, oh my God, this is a top type of price action. Vol was way down. So my thinking is if the markets want rate cuts, the longer the shutdown continues, the happier they are, because it'll be a bigger headwind and more cuts. And if the Fed is unsure, they'll default to cutting.
We got so many round numbers on the board. Even the S&P is approaching 68. NASDAQ already at 25,000 on the nose. Russell already at 2,500 on the nose. The Dow just over 47,000. I think it's a sideways action day, week. Volatility
that sounds right
for the weekend, which has been typical as of late. You'll probably see it collapse a little bit. It's in 20 cents right now. Probably see it collapse a little bit on Monday, regardless of what the mini S&Ps do. If they're within, let's say, 10 handles one way or 20 handles one way or the other. I think it's a sideways action. If we get that sideways action and we go into another week where we still have a Fed shutdown, I think that's probably the best of both worlds for everybody. If we can get a resolution, we get some numbers, maybe game's on one way or the other. I do think the yen and the dollar rallying. You mentioned it, Nick. I know, Ilya, you felt the same way. That could be a little bit of pressure on the market at all-time highs. I don't think it means we go down 30% in the market, or 20% or 10% even. But it could be a little bit of pressure. I definitely will give you that. But until then, it looks like it's status quo. A market opening at night that's bullish like this. You can give a little bit of leeway to the Bears here. If we fall off here, well, we'll have to see until the morning. Sound good to you, gentlemen?
Perfect.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Let's take a quick 90-second break and come back, and we'll come back Monday morning. Peace.
Peace.